So we go to the historic district. These missions have the toughest enemies, but thankfully we already have grenade 3, which helps a lot. The prize is a tough mission to do fast. What we have to do is deactivate bombs and kill all the enemies surrounding it. What's tough about it is that to kill the enemies we mainly want to use grenades. But if the explosion somehow hits the barrier surrounding the bomb, it explodes and we have to redo everything. First, try to activate this from as far as possible. In the video I got a little closer, but usually I do it from farther away. During the cutscene we get introduced to a new type of conduit. They are annoying but very easy to kill. Usually what I like doing is shooting some rockets and then normal bolts, since with the rocket upgrade we have, they will die super fast. After that, we also get introduced to a drone enemy that is quite annoying. You want to take them down as fast as possible because what they try to do is get close and explode. Then just use grenades to kill all the enemies in the alley, and then go kill the enemies safeguarding the bomb. To be extra careful so that the bomb doesn't explode, I like deactivating it first. When you deactivate the bombs, a big conduit will always spawn. You will know you've killed all the enemies when the map updates and you get a blue point marking the next bomb. Kessler will also mention a new bomb. There is another type of enemy that I should mention now. They can go invisible and are very annoying. One or two of them might follow you around from this point on. Once in the park, I always like trying to use the water to kill some enemies if possible. Their patterns are completely RNG, so sometimes all of them will be far from you, but sometimes they might all be inside the water. After this cutscene, all you want to do is shoot at one of the people hanging from the building, and that will trigger the next event.
You have time to save one, but not both. Choose.
To get to the next mission, follow what I do. You shouldn't get killed, since using the shield actually helps a lot, but be careful, otherwise getting to the mission will get a lot slower and painful.
Where the hell were you? If you'd only helped out, Trish might still be alive.
Nothing I could do. She was dead the second Kessler got his claws on her. 51 seconds.
Spare me that crap. You just didn't want to put your neck on the line.
Expose myself to save one person? No, I don't think so. But I can help you get some payback. The power grid on the southern half of this island never got updated, so it still uses the old external substations. Turn on all three and you restore power to the rest of the island. 15 seconds.
And give myself a new power in the process.
Exactly.
Another sewer mission. In this one we get the Lightning Storm, a power we will be using a lot to kill enemies in this mission and also will be used in the next few missions. This next section can be tricky to do without taking care of the enemies, so be careful. I like cutting corners as much as I can, but these enemies make it difficult to traverse without doing anything. Right after, just follow the tutorial and take down both tracks and turrets with our new power.
Bastards.
For these substations we need to recharge. All we need to do is shoot them from afar, and once we've completely recharged them, we can death warp to skip the dialogue and progress further. You will know it is recharged when the text disappears from the screen. There are going to be 4 waves of enemies. The order is right, left, right, left. You want to use grenades or lightning storm. Both can be equally faster. It depends on the enemies hiding behind walls or just not dying from grenades and instead getting knocked back, which happens sometimes.
Bastards.
Need more time. Still powering up. Almost powered up.
Once you kill the last enemy, you can jump off, but don't go too far or the mission will fail.
That one's good to go. So how much did Moya know about me? 52 seconds.
Hell if I know.
Do another death warp after charging the substation.
Different agency and knew I was undercover. That means the NSA has been compromised and seeing lots of
In this section there will be 3 waves of enemies. One in the alley in front, one in the tunnel, and another in the alley again.
still powering up.
You clowns never learn.
Just a bit longer. That one's powered up. I saw what you did for Trish. Believe it or not, I know how hard it is to bury someone you love. Especially someone as special as Trish.
Again, another death warp.
Looks like they're hitting you really hard. Defend that substation.
Right after, some enemies will spawn right in front, and then 11 enemies will come at you from afar. I like using the storm for those. Once those die, a truck will spawn in the alley where we arrived to the mission. And then, another wave of enemies will spawn in the opposite side, followed by a truck. For these enemies, I like spam throwing grenades to both sides, since enemies will spawn on both sides.
Still powering up.
After taking down the truck, look to the right and kill the last wave of enemies.
Need more time. Still powering up. Just found out what Kessler wanted with Sasha. He's milking her like a damn cow, turning her mind control tar into a gas-based toxin. 41 seconds.
Those two psychos were made for each other.
Yeah, they're freaks, believe me, I know. But if Kessler succeeds in spraying the city with his toxin, he can take control of every person still here. And send them after you. 18 seconds.
Story of my life.
I think he's gonna try and deliver it via balloons. Head over to the old Blue Canyon building.
Then we go
Against the World is one of the hardest missions in the game, and kinda like what happened in Speedruns, we need to catch cycles. The first balloon is very simple, but be wary of the drone's grenades though. I always try to take down the drones to be a little safer. The most important cycle to catch is the second balloon, and we get one try to catch it, otherwise a death warp would restart the cycle and we would lose time having to wait for the balloon. Just try to do what I do in the video, as there isn't really a good way of explaining this, it's just a movement you will need to practice.
Listen, man. I didn't know what was gonna happen with Trish. I swear it. You there? Come on, Cole, say something. Guess I'm the last person you want to talk to right now. Anyway,
The most important part is trying not to fall while using induction grid on these power lines. If you fall, you will most likely miss the cycle.
story of my life, I guess.
After that, run to the next balloon. The next 2 balloons have a nice cycle due to death warps.
That'll slow the spread of gas in this burrow. Kessler still has 2 more balloons deployed in the neon. He must have drained Sasha dry to produce that much toxin.
This could be so much easier for you, Cole. If you only helped me, I could have exerted control over those people, kept them from attacking you. But it's not too late. I can still be yours if you kill Kessler.
For this death warp, you want to try and fall in the water as Moira starts talking, but you can just do it at any point after she starts talking.
I know you're angry, but this is bigger than you. Bigger than all of us. The fate of our country.
Nice work. Are you nuts? If your lightning ignites the hydrogen in the balloon, you will be killed.
Now, the 4th balloon has 2 different strats you can do to get to it. Both are shown in the video. The first one is very risky as you get 1 try to do it and dying is very easy. The second one is simpler, but dying is also easy as there are too many enemies surrounding the area. After taking down the balloon, do another death warp and get to the next mission following the video.
You know, I think it's time we went on the offensive. Now, I've managed to rig up an old police chopper with some surveillance. You know, I think it's time we went on the offensive. Now, I've managed to rig up an old police chopper with some surveillance gear. That should help us pinpoint the ray sphere's location. 43 seconds.
You sure that's gonna work?
Look, I spent months following Kessler around, copying his notes. With the rig I've got on this chopper and you riding shotgun, yeah, we'll find it. Meet me by the old Ashford building in the historic district. 16 seconds.
I'm on my way.
This mission is simple, but it has some tricky sections. For the most part, it's a boring mission since all you really want to do is kill enemies from the helicopter. The other parts of the mission are tricky since you have to take down an antenna surrounded by enemies, and the enemies are very annoying.
Why no one can find it. The dishes along the bottom of the platform are set to find the jammers. As I find each one, I'll feed you its location. Then you can go down and destroy it. Cole, don't get off the platform unless I tell you to. We need to time this right. If we make a single mistake, Kessler will move the jammers and we're back to square one.
Understood.
As I scan for each jammer, we'll have to be pretty close to the ground, so be sure to watch our backs. Once I have its location, we'll be able to speed up.
Don't worry. I'll take care of anyone that crosses our path.
For the first antenna, be very careful, as there are RPG enemies pretty close to it.
Alright, I found the first jammer. Head down and destroy it.
After successfully taking it down, wait for John to tell you to go back to the chopper and then death warp.
Come here so we can look for the next one. I finished scanning for the next jammer. We're heading to its location. Probably don't know this, but I was chasing you the day of the blast. Tried to stop you from opening the package. If I had been a minute faster, you wouldn't even be here.
So what happened?
Lost me when you ran a red light. Amazing. One red light, look what happens. So, what's your plan for getting out of the city?
Hell if I know.
Well, you better come up with something. If you think they're gonna let someone as powerful as you just run around, you better think again.
I appreciate the concern, but I'm not really worried about it.
You should be worried. Very worried. You think they're not gonna try and recreate the ray sphere? I gave them copies of every schematic I could get my hands on. But even if that fails, they still have you. Their own personal WMD. My guess is that they'll capture you and lock you up, only letting you out when they need somebody wiped off the map.
Well, at least I'm good for something.
The second jammer is very simple. You shouldn't have any issues since there's usually only one enemy close to it.
to the chopper. Need to keep moving. Only one location left. Cole, come on, man. I know you're there. Please pick up.
I've got nothing to say to you, Zeke. As far as I'm concerned, you killed Trish. If you hadn't taken off with Kessler, she'd still be alive and we'd be out of this damn city.
What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry?
I don't want you to say anything. I want you to disappear. Because if I find you, things are gonna get ugly.
The third one can be a bit tricky because there's an invisible enemy right next to the jammer, but if you're fast enough, you should be getting it instantly. After that, a death warp is faster for traversing purposes and because it skips a cutscene. Then just follow the road to the next mission. After the initial cutscene is done, a death warp gives you a better spawn to start the mission. You want to use the lightning storm to take the turrets down, and the best way is doing it from below. But be careful not to be below any type of ceiling, otherwise the storm doesn't work. The death warps you will see me perform also give you better spawns, and some enemies will despawn as well.
quickly as you can. Get it in gear.
While following the chopper, you want to buy Karmic Overload, an upgrade that we will use during the last boss. As you're approaching the dock, try to do the death warp I do to skip a small cutscene. It doesn't save that much time though, so don't worry too much about it.
They've got a boat inbound. Probably trying.
Damn gas grenades.
This thing's running on vapor, so I gotta put it down. Get your ass down there and stop them. I'll follow you on foot as soon as I can.
After the cutscene is done, you want to press X to destroy the sphere. That way your good karma will be untouched and you will be able to use Karmic Overload for Kessler.
I'm disappointed, Cole. The ray sphere was the catalyst of your powers, and it could have strengthened you even more, but you rejected it. I, for one, wouldn't have done the same thing.
Yeah, well, I'm not like you. It took me a while, but I finally realized that this isn't about me, about what I want. Not anymore. It's about keeping this city safe. And once you're dead, no one will ever threaten it again.
That remains to be seen. Meet me at the Staten building.
So the fight has 3 phases. A simple one you can finish with like 4 or 5 grenades, if they all hit. A longer phase in which his health will go from about 70% to about 30%, and the third phase. It is filled with RNG, but basically you want to try and bait a laser attack by running away from him or just not looking at him. Whenever the fight starts, I like jumping like I do in the video, and even though you will see it didn't instantly give me the laser attack, usually that is what happens. In the second phase, once he uses the laser attack, you want to use Karmic Overload to just spam grenades once he's vulnerable. After that, in the third phase, he will spawn some flying grenade launching robots. What I like to do is take them down and not care about Kessler, and sometimes that baits the laser attack. Otherwise, he has other attacks you should know about. If he punches the ground, you'll have to jump, otherwise Cole gets hit and falls. And the other attack is when he spawns ghosts, and you have to shoot them down. He can also do both at the same time. Now I'll just let the video speak for itself. The fight can be tricky, so don't worry if the RNG is very bad sometimes.
Here we are, back where it...
You're not worming your way out this time, Kessler.
You're weak, a failure. All of this has been for nothing.
Get your hands off of him! Cole, make a run for it! I'll take care of this gas bag.
This doesn't concern you, fat man. No one is gonna save you this time.
You're not gonna be so glib when I ram my foot up your ass.
And that's a wrap for the infamous tutorial. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to join the community Discord, which will be linked in the description. Hope your learning goes well, until next time.